This will be a demonstration of the Quickdraw weaving program's color palette controls. I have two different ways to get to the color palette control. From the project setup screen, I can ask for palette, go to more, or if I'm editing the pattern, and warp or weft editor both give me the palette controls. If I ask for more, I get to the same place. Now at this point I can add a color. For example, I'll pull a red up. If I don't want that one, I can delete that color. If I want to add a full range of color, it'll take that whole suite. So I now have an assortment of reds in the pattern for me. Clear palette gets rid of everything except for the black and white. I can select a background of anything I want, so I can drag any of the colors there to background. Most of the time that's a little hard to read, so I'll change it back to a gray. Shrink palette I'll talk about in a little bit. So I can also drag all the colors. I can pull any or all of the colors off a 12 color wheel. I can pull the 6 primary colors. I also have access to a 36 color wheel with various hues and tones, so I can pull those in where I want to. Now I have an ability of creating a number of custom colors any way I want to. Let me go to an orange. It shows me the usual red, green, blue RGB color components. I can adjust those any way I want to in small or large increments. I can select the box, type in, it will go what I want. The other thing that's also provided is red, yellow, blue components. This is not an exact, but it does make it a little bit easier. If I want an orange with a little less yellow in it or a little bit more red, I can click those guys and move that around there. I also have an ability from a color selected, if I want to pull in tones, I can pull in one tone, for example. Let me clear the delete color. I can also select a range of tones, for example, the mid tan here and a little bit darker color, the center color. You'll notice the little tabs on these lines mark where the center color is on those tonal ranges, and add that. So I now have some colors to play with. I'm just throwing a rainbow, so I've got a range of colors. Now when I go back in to edit the shafts, I can, for example, if I want to throw in red and yellow threads, I now have a series of colors in the shaft. If I now go back to the color palette and I ask for a shrink palette, it's going to look through that, figure out exactly which of those colors are actually used in the pattern I'm now playing with, and compress all of the other excess nonsense that I've inadvertently created into the program. And that gives me a pretty good description of the color capabilities. Thank you now. This is an update to the color palette controls. In this case, let me start from the 4-color pattern that we were playing with. If I go back in and I go to the color palette, what I've added is a grayscale functions here. So as I select the colors, I can actually see the grayscale component change, which show the larger the number, the brighter the color. The other thing this can also do is when I hit the grayscale button, it's replaced each of the colors in the palette with its grayscale equivalent. And for reference, let me add the rainbow again. So the color sequence was red, so the red's pretty dark. The orange, the yellow is pretty bright to the eye. The green, blue is pretty dark for the human eye response. And the purple's a little bit brighter. So that would then allow me to take that grayscale value. When I say done, it's now flattened the colors on that, so I can physically go back through, look for contrast, and make sure that my color choices are appropriate. And that is what the color update does. Thank you.